This is the video where the rubber meets the road. This is the point where you're going to take your .mobi file and you're going to take it to the Amazon Kindle store. You're going to upload it and then you're going to release it to the world in the Amazon store. So to get to the KDP section where you're going to upload your book file, just come to kdp.amazon.com and you'll have to create an account. And once you've created your account, when you sign in, you will be met with this section. So what we're going to work with today, we're going to work with the bookshelf. These other sections aren't as relevant, but this one here, it will be probably the second most common one you'll be going to. It's the report section, and clicking on this link will tell you there's a small dashboard that pops up, and it's just like it'll show you your daily sales and how many pages of your book have been read every day. So it'll give you an idea of how your book sales are going. So for the moment, we're just going to stick with the bookshelf. So to create a Kindle book, you just click Kindle ebook, and you will be met with this page here. So this is the page here where you're going to fill all the details in of your book before you upload it. So if we go through it section by section, the first one we're going to come to is a language, which is English. And then on to the next section, which is the title of the book. Now if there was a subtitle for the book, I would put it in here, but because we're only just going with just a simple title, this is the one I'm going to go with. In the next section, if this was a series of books, I would put the series name of the book and the number of this edition. But because this is a one-off book and it isn't a series, we're not going to be using this. We're also not going to be using this section here because this is an edition number. If there was any revisions to the book, if the book was like updated from the previous version, we would put down this, maybe the second edition or whatever. But because this is a one-off, we're not going to use this. In the next section, this is the author section. So as I said before, if you're depending on whether you're using your real name or a pen name, this is the section that you would fill that in, the first name and surname. And then coming down to the author section, is there anybody that has contributed to the book that you'd like to add them to it? This is the section where you want to. So if you had an editor, an illustrator, anybody of these that you would feel should have been added to your book, or you would like to add to your book, you would just click the relevant one, add in their details, and then add them to the book. From that section then we're coming on down to the description. Now I've just filled in a simple description here of what I want to show on the page, but of all the details on this page, this is probably the most important, because this is the description that's going to try and sell this book to readers. You know yourself, if you came to a book that had a lackluster and poor description, that had no that gave no impulse to make you want to buy the book, you just wouldn't buy it. So this is one section where I recommend that you take your time coming up with a good winning description for your book, and something that will entice the customer to part with their money and to buy your book. So like most things, if you've never written a description before, this can just seem totally just out of your comfort zone. It was for me at the beginning. So what I recommend you should do is, if you've got any kids books at home, I would take them all out and just flip them over and read the backs of them. Now from reading the back of the books, you will find a lot of words that maybe come up again and again, or sayings that make the book seem more enticing. So what I would do is I get a pen and paper and take note of those sayings and words and try and work them into the description of your book. Now if you don't have any kids books at home, again I would recommend maybe just take a trip to the library or take a trip to your local bookstore and pay attention to how publishers are advertising the books on the back. you'll find a lot of information and things to go on then. But as well as that too, what I'd recommend is even just taking a short trip over to YouTube and just type writing book descriptions, and you'll find a wealth of information that you can use to just to take a dull and boring book description and how you can jazz it up, and how you can entice readers to want to download your book. And because at the end of the day, for all the effort you've put into this book, you do want people to read it. So any way you can make the book as enticing as possible, the more sales you're going to make and the more readers you're going to get. So once you've done that and you're happy with your book description, now you can write as long a book description as you'd like to. But I normally would just go with what I have here. That's about the kind of average length I would have for my book description, especially with a children's picture book. So now we're looking down here, we're coming down to the publishing rights. So because this isn't a public domain work and I own the copyright and I've created the book myself, I would click this one here. But again, from my earlier videos about finding images and copyright on images, there's another reason why you need to be careful, because if Amazon found you were infringement of any copyright, or whether if there was a complaint about the images used in your book, they would close that. They would take that book off the Amazon store and you wouldn't be able to use it anymore. And if worst cases came to it, they could actually close down your account. So, which isn't a nice thing if you're making money on your books and all of a sudden that income is just gone overnight. So that's another reason why, as I said earlier, be careful of the images that you use, because you don't want to get in any trouble with Amazon or with any third parties for using those images. But because I'm happy enough with the image I'm using, I would click this button here because I own the copyright and hold the necessary publishing rights. So I'm just going to pause this video here, and in the next video I am going to speak about the next section, which is keywords, and is almost as important as the description. I'll see you in that video then.